HarperCollins presents Falling for You by Portia MacIntosh, read by Karen Cass. Chapter 1. Today is the first day of the rest of my life. Well, that's what the dog-eared copy of The Guide to New Beginnings, currently poking out of my handbag on the front seat, has been trying to convince me. The last month has been a bit of a blur. It feels like just yesterday I was sitting at my desk, mindlessly yet happily going through the motions, when one of my bosses, perched on the corner of my desk, offered me a new job in a different location, and before I knew what I was doing, I said yes. A more exciting role in the company, and a pay increase appealed, of course, but more than anything, it was the chance to take my 8-year-old son out of life in inner-city London and raise him in a cute little coastal village up north. I've been worrying about a few things recently, and getting out of the city seemed like the best solution. The only solution, really. I was born and raised in Croydon, only moving closer to central London as I got older. My son Frankie has never known anything other than life in central London, living in a small flat, catching the tube to school every day. This isn't the life I want for him, though. I want him to grow up in a small town, in a close community, somewhere with scenery and fields with real grass, away from the pollution and commuting to school on busy trains, overflowing with unfriendly people. I love my city, and I'm proud of my roots, but after living here for all of my 31 years on this planet so far, now just feels like the right time to leave and try somewhere new. I've always liked the idea of a fresh start, and I can't think of a better time for one than the start of autumn. It's September, and you can already see the signs of summer fading away, allowing the fall to blossom. I find the transition so gentle as the weather cools down and the colours of the trees burst out of nowhere. It's sad to say goodbye to summer, but I can't help but welcome the cosy jumpers, the pumpkin spice lattes, curling up in front of a warm fire with a good book. And now my life is changing with the season, I'm hoping it will be like a breath of that crisp fresh air, that everything will fall into place for me as sure as the leaves will fall from the trees. Here's hoping. As well as the self-help book I've been reading to help me prepare for the change, I've also got my new planner, packed full of everything I need to know about my new home. And, being a single mum, I've always found that my son's social calendar is even harder to keep track of than my own, so it's all going in the planner. Every last detail. I really want this to go well. As our journey up north progresses, the concrete jungle we're so used to has slowly but surely transitioned to fields of green and wide open space, and it is exactly the breath of fresh air I've been gasping for. I'm too busy taking in the scenery to remember to change gear at a junction, so the car stalls, giving us a jolt strong enough to wake Frankie up. "Mom," he whines sleepily. I glance at him in my rearview mirror and watch him rub his tired eyes. "Sorry, kiddo," I say. "I'm not used to driving a manual." Frankie doesn't need me to tell him that. This isn't the first time I've messed up with the gears today. Well, living in the city, I've never needed a car, so I haven't driven one in years. The only car I have driven occasionally, my mum's, is an automatic. Still, it was so nice of my bosses to give me a company-branded VW Beetle to drive up here in and use as a runaround, even if it is an offensive shade of lime green. They've also rented us a cottage that looked positively picturesque in the photos they showed me. It feels weird moving here without having visited, but everything happened so quickly. I'm sure there was time to do things properly, to come and scope the place out and make sure it was everything I hoped it would be, but I just really wanted to get out of town so that Frankie could start the new school year with everyone else. Well, that's what I told them at least. "Are we there yet?" Frankie asks for the first time. I'm proud of him for being so well behaved. Most kids would go bananas during a long car journey, but my boy has only started to grow impatient in the last 30 minutes. "We are," I tell him with enthusiasm, although I can't help but notice that he doesn't seem as pumped as I am. "You excited?" "I guess," he replies. "It's going to be weird." "It's going to be amazing," I remind him. "I know you'll miss your school and your..."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?